Quite an interesting press conference, I guess, between the two leaders. Tell us a little bit more about the outrage that we've heard so far from Helsinki.
Well, it's been pretty widespread and pretty quick. There are a number of Republicans who have been critical of Trump in the past, such as Senator John McCain, who called this the disgraceful performance, the worst in memory by a U.S. president. But there are some other people who traditionally defend Trump or at least avoid directly criticizing him, who did contradict the president with his statements about U.S. intelligence agencies, saying that the U.S. has been clear that the evidence is in that Russia did indeed interfere in the 2016 election. Now, where that takes it, whether or not more Republicans will feel themselves free to defy Trump on other matters sort of remains to be seen. But it was a pretty remarkable. Even some of his staunchest allies, such as former House Speaker Newt Gingrich, called it the worst mistake of his presidency and one that must be corrected immediately. So Trump is getting a lot of pushback on this.
Yeah, the verbal scathing you might expect, of course, from the Democrats, but from the Republicans in his own party. I mean, Paul Ryan himself said the president has to appreciate that Russia is not our ally, and calling Russians thugs. It's interesting, though, because aside from the verbal side of things, Joe, what can be done? Can Congress do anything, or is this really all we have right now?
Well, the Constitution gives the president pretty wide purview over foreign policy, but there are other areas where they can express their displeasure. For instance, there is some legislation that has been proposed, bipartisan, in the House and Senate, or I'm sorry, in the Senate, that would require that the director of national intelligence would have to certify whether or not Russia has stopped interfering in elections. Otherwise, they would get additional sanctions, and it would take the certification from the president and put it in the hands of the chief of U.S. intelligence. So there are some things on the side that they can do to create some pressure for the president and on Russia.